everyone, thanks for visiting my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Carol, the Thrifty Chic Housewife. So today, love is in the air. Do you feel it? I do. It is almost Valentine's Day, and I really do enjoy Valentine's Day. It's such a great time of year. I know a lot of people see it as a commercial holiday, just another reason to go out and spend money we don't need to spend, buy things that other people don't need. But honestly, I see it as a day to be intentional about doing something special for those that we care about. So today I'm going to show you how to do a romantic dinner for two, and we're going to do easy but elegant with a touch of fancy. I did a little poll on YouTube, and most of you said that you wanted something easy and elegant. I had about 11% of you who said you wanted some fancy, so I'm going to throw in a touch of fancy for you. So our menu is going to be, we're going to start off with a delicious appetizer. We're going to do an easy charcuterie board, and that's really easy because if you're a canner, I'm sure you have everything you need in your canned pantry. If not, charcuterie boards are so easy to put together, and you can just kind of pick things that you either have in your pantry or in your fridge. So that's going to be our appetizer. And then for our main course, we're going to do Salisbury steak with caramelized onion gravy with mashed potatoes on the side or over mashed potatoes, however you prefer. It's the touch of fancy is going to be the caramelized onions, and Salisbury steak is just a really comforting dish. Valentine's Day is in February, and for some of us, it's usually kind of cold, so a nice comforting dish is really nice to do. So that's why I selected that. Plus, it's really easy to do. You can do it ahead of time and just reheat your mashed potatoes and gravy and your Salisbury steak as you're enjoying your charcuterie board. And then for dessert, we're going to do a decadent chocolate fondue with all kinds of delicious things to dip. And again, just like your charcuterie board, the things that you dip into your fondue, I'm sure you have plenty of options already in your pantry. So like I said, it's going to be an easy meal, an elegant meal with a little touch of fancy. Now, in my opinion, cooking for someone is a great way to show your love to someone. So I think a romantic dinner at home is just really special, and you can make it as special as you want to make it. Now, I would suggest to you that we put aside ponytails, t-shirts, jeans, sweatpants, and leggings, and dig into our closet for something a little more special. Since we're eating in, that doesn't mean that we can't put forth a little effort. I talked about being intentional. This is the day of intentionally showing someone that you care about them. So I think that should also be reflective in what we wear. So I suggest that you, like I said, get rid of the jeans, t-shirts, ponytails, yoga pants, and sweatpants. Dig into your closet and find that thing that you think would be something that you would wear out to dinner if you were going out, or for a special occasion, or whatever it is that you think that your significant other would enjoy seeing you in. And ladies, just FYI, it is a proven fact that seeing red makes his heart beat just a little bit faster. So you might want to check in your closet and see if you have something in the red category. But anyway, we're going to be intentional, and we're going to put forth effort, or at least I am, and that's my suggestion to you. And you might even want to try cooking this meal together as a couple. What could be more fun than cooking together, right? So you might want to give that a try, but whether you're making it for your significant other or you're making it together, just make it fun, make it sexy, and make it fabulous. So I think we should get started. Okay, so for our appetizer, most things you're going to already have. We're going to put some nuts. We're going to use some dried cranberries. We're going to use the cinnamon apples that we canned back in December, November, and some cheese, things like that that you would already have on hand. The only thing that we're gonna make for the charcuterie board is I'm going to use these sweet cherry peppers, and we're going to cut off the stem, cut out the insides. They're pickled peppers, so we're going to cut out the insides, take off the stem, and we're going to stuff them with this garlic herb spreadable cheese. You have lots of options for this. You could use there's herb cream cheese that you could use. There's Boursin, I think is how you say it. They have a soft cheese that has fresh herbs in it. And then there's this one. There's lots out there, so you can just take your pick of whatever type of soft spreadable cheese there is that you can find at your grocery store, whatever you want to stuff them with. But we're going to stuff some cherry peppers, and to do that, what we need to do is, like I said, we're going to cut off the tops, cut out the insides, and you want to drain them real well so that they're not wet. So that's what we're going to do first. Okay guys, for the fondue, we're going to use a double boiler, and we're going to melt 6 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, and you can use chocolate chips here if you prefer. I'm using Baker's chocolate. Ghirardelli is delicious as well. To that, we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, and we're going to start with 1/4 cup of heavy cream. We may need a little more. It just depends on the texture you want your fondue to be. And I like doing this in a double boiler because if you do it in the microwave, if you go too far and your chocolate seizes up, there's nothing you can do. I just feel like you have better control with a double boiler. So I have about 1/2 inch to 1 inch of water simmering in the bottom of my pan, and you want to make sure that the bowl you're using is not touching your simmering water. We just want a nice gentle heat. That's it for the chocolate fondue. Super easy. You just want to keep an eye on it and make sure that it doesn't scorch at all. But you can tell it's really silky. So delicious. And I have, to go with that, I have strawberries. Just, you want to make sure any berries or fruit that you use is nice and dry. So I rinsed them real well, and then I patted them dry with a paper towel. These cute little cookies are just the same sugar cookie recipe I used for making the Christmas cookies. I just cut them into heart shapes and just topped them with a little bit of sparkling sugar before I put them in the oven to bake, because I knew we were going to dip them, so they don't need any frosting. Raspberries, of course. Raspberries are so good with chocolate. And then homemade marshmallows. Perfection. Okay guys, we are ready for our main course. So we're gonna get busy making the Salisbury steak first, and we're just going to brown it on pretty good, sear it really well on each side. We want it nice and brown. We want a nice golden crust on each side. Not really golden, dark brown crust on each side. And then we're going to take those out of the pan, and then we're going to create our gravy, and then we're going to put our Salisbury steak back into our gravy and let it simmer while our potatoes are cooking so it can finish cooking through. So searing it the first time is really just to get a nice crust on the outside, but it's going to cook in the gravy. Okay, so we're ready to make our Salisbury steak. Now I know there are lots of different ways to make Salisbury steak, to each their own, but I'm going to be using, I know a lot of people use rice, I'm going to be using buttery crackers instead. I love the flavor that they lend. I really don't care for the rice texture mixed in with the meat. So we're going to be using buttery crackers. So I have 1 pound of ground sirloin, and to that I am going to add about a half a cup of buttery crackers. Now you could use Ritz, they're a buttery cracker, or my favorite is the Keebler Club crackers. And then all I do is I just squeeze them in my hand and crush them up. You're going to want about a half of a cup. Okay, to our ground meat and our crushed crackers, we are going to add 2 teaspoons of kitchen bouquet. And this is wonderful in Salisbury steak. It has that really rich beefy flavor that we like. Plus adding this helps them to caramelize on the outside and get that really nice crust. So I add about 2 to 3 teaspoons of that. We're also going to use that in our gravy. We're going to add 1 egg, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, and garlic powder. About a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now I used ground sirloin. You can use whatever you like, but ground sirloin has more of a meaty texture to it. It's less fatty, so it's a beefier texture, if you will. And I really like that for my Salisbury steak. So once you get all your ingredients mixed in, let's go ahead and turn our heat on. So we want a pretty hot pan since we want to sear them. And you just want to mix that all together just like you would meatloaf. And if you wanted to, you could do this part ahead of time and just cover them in plastic wrap, let them sit in the fridge and cook them off just before you're ready to eat. You can cook them off and have them in the gravy and just reheat your gravy and your mashed potatoes in the oven while you're getting ready. However you want to save time so that you can spend more time with your love during Valentine's Day, lots of options for that. So once you get your meat, when everything combined with your meat, we're just going to shape them in an oval patty. That's how it was originally done by Mr. Salisbury. And if you had Salisbury steak as a kid in the frozen dinner style, they were always round or oval. And this will give you 4 patties, 4 nice sized patties. Okay, once you get your patties done, then hopefully your pan is nice and hot, and we're going to add about a tablespoon or so of olive oil, but it's really important that your pan is really hot. And then we're just going to go ahead and put our patties into our pan. Mine's not quite hot enough yet. It should sizzle when you stick them in there. Okay, and like I said, at this point, really what we want to do is just get a nice brown crust on the outside of our Salisbury steaks. So just a couple of minutes, maybe 3 minutes on each side, and then we're going to take them out of our pan and we're going to start our onion gravy. See that beautiful caramelized crust? That is what we're looking for. So you want a fairly high heat here, medium high to high. You want it pretty hot. As our Salisbury steaks are caramelized on both sides, they have a beautiful brown crust to them. So we're going to take those out. And like I said, we're not looking for them to be completely done at this point. We just want that nice crust. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to add another tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to turn my heat down. You want a medium-low heat here. We're going to caramelize our onions. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of butter. And then I'm going to add 2 large onions that I've sliced. And we want these to caramelize, but we don't want them to caramelize too fast. So you need to turn your heat down. You want to scrape up all of those delicious brown bits on the bottom of your pan. And we're gonna let our onions go low and slow and let them caramelize and get really sweet. If you've never caramelized onions before, it's not hard, but it does take some patience. So we want to draw out the sweetness of the onion. And we want them to get a nice, deep, golden caramelized color to them. And in order to do that, once you get started, you need to leave them alone. So we don't want to keep stirring here. Once our heat goes down some, I don't want them to burn, that's why I'm stirring them so much now. But once you get your heat to the right temperature, you want to leave them alone because we want them to caramelize, and they can't do that if we keep moving them around the pan. So we are going to just let those hang out, let them cook low and slow until they get that nice deep golden color to them. And while that's going on, I'm going to peel my potatoes and get those in my pot. Okay guys, our onions are going low and slow, just the way we want them. And you want to stir them about every 5 to 7 minutes, but the caramelization process should take 30 to 45 minutes to get the onions where we want them to be. We want them to be super tender. We want all the sugars to be drawn out of them, and we want that deep golden color without being burnt. So this is perfect. Nice, low, gentle heat. And we're just going to give them a stir every 5 to 7 minutes. Okay guys, we're not quite there, but we are getting close. But I wanted to show you, see how they're starting to turn translucent and we have that beautiful golden color, but they're not burning. So that's the most important thing, is you don't want them to burn. You don't want your pan to go dry either. So if you need to, you can always add a little more butter. But we're going to let these go just a little bit further, and then we're going to make our delicious gravy. Okay guys, my onions are nicely caramelized. They have that deep, dark, caramely color to them. So we're good to go. We're ready to make gravy. So now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. We're just going to mix that in. And once you've cooked your flour for about 30 seconds or so, then we're going to add 3 cups of beef stock. Give that a stir. And I like to use the better than bouillon and then just reconstitute it with boiling water. But you can use whatever beef stock you like. And we're going to bring this up to a nice simmer, and we're going to let it thicken before we put our Salisbury steaks back in. So while that's happening, we're going to go ahead and add a couple of teaspoons of Worcestershire just to add some depth of flavor. And again, I'm going to add some more of the kitchen Bouquet. It just adds such nice, deep flavor and beautiful color to your beef gravy. Any beef gravy, beef stew, anything beefy, it's delicious in. And then, like I said, we're going to bring this up to a simmer and we're going to let it thicken. And once we get there, then we'll add our Salisbury steaks back into our pan. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start my mashed potatoes. I have about 4 medium to large Yukon Gold potatoes, chopped in about 1-inch pieces, peeled and chopped in 1-inch pieces, covered with water. And I'm going to go ahead and get those going. Okay guys, I brought my gravy up to a simmer, and it's been simmering for about 10 minutes. And then I tasted it. I did add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, and I'm going to add another teaspoon of kitchen Bouquet. That's entirely up to you. You'll just have to taste it and see where you want to go with flavor. But I'm going to add a little bit more, and we're going to give that a stir. And now we're going to put our patties into our gravy. And we're going to simmer our patties in the gravy for about 20 minutes or so. And I do flip them over about every 10 minutes or so. You want to make sure that they're evenly cooked. So just flip them at your discretion. And I'm going to put the lid on because I don't want any anything out, any more evaporation to happen. I'm happy with the texture of my gravy. So I'm gonna put my lid on. I've got my heat on low, and I'm just gonna let those hang out and simmer low and slow for about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay guys, our mashed potatoes are done. Like I said, I boiled off about 4 medium to large Yukon Gold potatoes, added about 1/4 cup of butter and about 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. You can use canned milk, you can use whatever milk you like, but that's what I had on hand today, so that's what I used. And salt and pepper, kind of kept them nice and simple since we have all those delicious flavors with the Salisbury steak. And our Salisbury steak has been simmering for about 30 minutes. So everything is ready. So I'm going to go change, and then we're going to get this party started. Well, I hope I covered all of the bases for you guys for a romantic dinner for 2 for Valentine's Day. At least I tried to make it easy, elegant, and a little bit fancy. And I hope I've inspired you to have a romantic dinner for 2 at home. It isn't hard to do, and it's much more intimate than going out to a restaurant. You don't have to fight the crowds, you don't have to worry about making reservations, and I think it's really wonderful to cook for the one that you love and spend some time giving thought to what they would enjoy as far as what's sexy and fun to them and the things that they enjoy to eat. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me. This was a lot of fun to put together, and I hope I've inspired you to enjoy a romantic evening at home. Make it romantic, make it fun, and make it sexy. I will see you next time. Have a great day and happy Valentine's Day. Mwah.